Hi everybody. Today in this video I'll be talking about William Shakespeare's famous play The Tempest. The Tempest has brought him a big name and it is said to be one of the best plays of William Shakespeare. Before I talk about The Tempest of William Shakespeare, it is necessary to know something about William Shakespeare and his contribution to English drama. As you all know, William Shakespeare is one of the important dramatists of English literature. He is regarded as the greatest dramatist of all times, for he has written equal number of great comedies, equal number of great tragedies, histories, and tragic comedies too. Shakespeare is not only a great dramatist, but also a great poet. In this way, Shakespeare is a name which we remember as the greatest contributor to English drama. If you look at his contribution, William Shakespeare wrote 37 plays, 154 sonnets, many lyrics, and narrative poems like Venus and Adonis, Rape of Lucrece. He was a genius in writing both tragedies and comedies. His famous tragedies are Macbeth, the tragedy of overambition, Hamlet, the tragedy of procrastination, King Lear, the tragedy of old age insanity, and Othello, the tragedy of suspicion. He also wrote wonderful comedies in which he created wonderful heroines, charming heroines, and handsome heroes. As You Like It, Twelfth Night, Midsummer Night's Dream, Winter's Tale, All's Well That Ends Well, and many more. He also made use of the histories of England and wrote a number of chronicle plays, including Richard III, Henry VI, Henry IV, Richard II, Henry VIII, and others. Some of his plays are a mixture of tragedy and comedy, which are called tragic comedies. To this list belongs Cymbeline, The Tempest. Today in this video, I'll be elaborately talking about his later play, The Tempest. The Tempest is known as the tragic comedy written by Shakespeare in 1611. It is said to be the last play of Shakespeare because it comes under the category of somber plays in which we see the combination of tragic and comic elements. One of the critics said that when Shakespeare writes comedies, sometimes there are tragic clouds hanging over the comic world of Shakespeare. In this particular category, we can consider The Merchant of Venice and The Tempest, in which we see that the tragic clouds hanging over the comic world of Shakespeare. This particular tragic comedy has a major theme, forgiveness and repentance. Of course, there are sub-themes like love, magic, and betrayal. Before we begin with the plot of The Tempest, it's necessary to know the important characters in this play. The major characters in this play are Prospero, the Duke of Milan and father of Miranda. He was usurped by his brother Antonio. Miranda, daughter of Prospero, and later becomes the beloved of Ferdinand. Antonio, brother of Prospero, who overthrew him for the sake of power. Ferdinand is the son of Alonso, the King of Naples, and the lover of Miranda. Caliban is a black son of Sycorax, the original inhabitant of Ireland, who becomes the slave of Prospero. Ariel, the good spirit that helps Prospero to execute his plan. There are other characters like Boatswain, Gonzalo, Sebastian, Trincolo, and others who play, uh, you know, a subordinate role in this play. Friends, let us understand the plot of this play, The Tempest. The plot of this play is very, very interesting. When the play begins, we come to know that there is a scene of shipwreck, and this shipwreck is caused by the tempest or the storm created by uh, Ariel. Ariel is a good spirit. I have already told you that, which has been employed by Prospero. And Ariel created the storm, and in the storm, the ship was separated from the fleet, and all are now dislocated. It was carrying the King of Naples, that is Alonso, his son Ferdinand, his friend Antonio, Sebastian, and others. And in fact, Miranda was shocked to see the scene of shipwreck and praised her father to save their lives, because for the first time she sees the beautiful human beings on the ship, and her heart is in fact driven by this sight, and asks her father, please save them. And Prospero is a very cool man, a great magician. He assures her that there is no harm caused to anybody and all are safe, and he is playing a game. He tells her about his past, um, and how Prospero was the Duke of Milan, very respected man, a great reader actually. He was a voracious reader, interested in reading and getting knowledge. In that way, he was a Renaissance man. Was more interested in learning, and that's why he has given all the powers to his brother Antonio to look after administration, so that he can continue his studies like Ulysses. Prospero was more interested in studies like Dr. Faustus. He was more interested in knowing more about the world, more about uh, the writings. But using this opportunity, Antonio dislodges him, overthrows him, and because Antonio was driven by the desire of power, and he overthrew his brother and put him and his little daughter, and she was just 3 years old at the time, in a fragile boat, so that they will be drowned, and people will be given the information that the Duke was drowned. But fortunately, there was a good hearted noble man called Gonzalo. Gonzalo helped them with a nice boat and placed all the books of Prospero on the board of the ship, and he ensured that the ship has a safe passage to the island. Yeah, now they come down to the magic island, and in the island, Prospero, becomes the master. He came and saw Ariel, who was in fact tied to a tree by Sycorax, but Sycorax is now dead. She is dead. Her son Caliban is still there. So he released Ariel, and Ariel becomes his servant, and Caliban was in fact given education by Prospero. So this is the story he tells to Miranda, that about her past, about the past of Prospero, and how they suffered greatly, and now all the enemies of Prospero, including his brother Antonio, his good friend Gonzalo, and then the King of Naples, who helped Antonio in dethroning him, and his son, of course, innocent, Ferdinand, and all other courtiers are now in the island, but they were separated by storm caused by Ariel as per the plans. There were three groups now, and they were in different parts of the island, and each consider that their companions are drowned and they are dead. Alonso thinks that his son Ferdinand is dead. Ferdinand thinks that his father might have been drowned, and the others also think that there is no hope of survival of their companions. But fortunately, all are alive in different places of the same island because Prospero wanted to teach them lessons. Caliban in the Caliban continues to Caliban is introduced in this particular scene, and Caliban is dark and looking very awkward, and he was the original inhabitant of this island. And Prospero taught him language. He considers that it is a white man's burden to teach him a lesson, and Caliban didn't learn all the lessons taught by Prospero. In fact, Prospero tried to educate him, but when Caliban tried to rape Miranda, he punished and kept him as his slave. And Caliban claims the original ownership of the island and looking for opportunity to overthrow Prospero. Once he told him, "You taught me language, and my profit on it is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language." This is how Caliban reacts when Prospero said that he is not properly educated and he doesn't have good language skills. In the meanwhile, we are introduced to Ferdinand and Miranda love story, and it is a love at first sight. We come to know that Ferdinand is very much influenced by the beauty of Miranda. And normally in Shakespeare's plays, we see this kind of a love at first sight. And whether it is As You Like It, which we see Rosalind and Orlando, it's love at first sight. There's Midsummer Night's Dream, where Lysander and Hermia, Demetrius and Helen, and Merchant of Venice, Portia and Bassanio. Similarly, you see here, when they meet each other for the first time, of course, they fall in love with each other. Miranda admires Ferdinand as he sees first time such human being on the island. And Prospero observes the lovers, and of course, he is very happy to see the match. It's a good, match. But he tests his love. So again, the testing of love takes place here. The same thing we see in As You Like It, how Rosalind in the guise of Ganymede tests Orlando in the forest of Arden. Similarly, here, father is testing the true love of his future son-in-law. Prospero deliberately behaves rudely with Ferdinand. Miranda feels bad when Ferdinand is given hard tasks. But Prospero enjoys the fun and feels happy to see the goodness in him. So the things move on. Of course, we come to know that in the end of the play, many things happen. Alonso, the King of Naples, continues his search for Ferdinand. He thinks that his son is drowned. In the meanwhile, again, Antonio, mm, a very wicked character at soul, persuades Sebastian, the brother of Alonso, to kill his brother Alonso and Gonzalo. And it is during this time Ariel intervenes and wakes up Gonzalo when he is about to commit the crime. And this shows that Antonio is no longer a good man. He even tries to kill the person who helped him. So, of course, they give a very different kind of an excuse when they are revealed, and all begin search for Ferdinand. In the meanwhile, Caliban plans to kill Prospero with the help of Trincolo and Stefano. All of them dance in the drunken mood and they decided to kill Prospero. And Caliban says that he will make Stefano the king if he kills Prospero. And it is also foiled by the magic tricks of Ariel. In the meanwhile, we see some fun and magic here in the play. Alonso, Antonio, and other king's parties led to some magical tricks by Prospero. A lot of dishes appear before them, and when they want to eat, all the dishes, all the sweets disappear from that. And here, Prospero wanted to teach them the lessons of hardships. So that is one of the scenes in which we come to know that before there is a reconciliation or repentance, they undergo certain trials and tribulations, so problems and predicaments. This is what Shakespeare's intention is. Of course, we also see in the end of the play, uh, all comes to a happy ending. The play witnesses happy ending in the last act. Brothers are reconciled. Prospero forgives Antonio and Alonso. And Prospero brings Ferdinand, which makes the king joyful. He sees his son alive, and both Prospero and Alonso are happy to see Ferdinand and Miranda as a suitable match, and they bless the couple. And Ariel is also released from Prospero as he was promised by Prospero earlier. And Caliban is forgiven. All ends happily. Prospero is restored to dukedom in Milan. This is how finally there is a happy ending. Of course, the major themes in this particular play are forgiveness and repentance. Forgiveness, forgive thy enemy is what we find in the Bible, and repentance. It is not actually the crime and punishment. It is, of course, forgiveness and repentance. People have committed mistake, but by forgiving, Prospero becomes a great man. This is like Portia's words: the quality of mercy is not strained; it blesseth both the giver and the taker. So by forgiving, of course, Prospero becomes godlike. And of course, Antonio is repenting for whatever sin he has committed. Alonso is also repenting for supporting Antonio in dethroning him. And this is how we come to know. Even Caliban is forgiven. And Sebastian and Triccolo are forgiven. Sebastian is forgiven by his own brother. Similarly, of course, there is a theme of love also, because Shakespeare wrote wonderful romantic comedies, and he tried to mix some romance in every of his comedy, particularly As You Like It, Midsummer Night's Dream, 12th Night. And in this play also, we come to know that there is a beautiful couple. Ferdinand is a handsome guy, and Miranda is a very beautiful, charming girl, and both uh, love at first sight, enjoys being together. That is one thing. Magic is another thing, of course. Magic appears again and again in Shakespeare's plays. In Midsummer Night's Dream, we see some Titania, Oberon, and Lauchus. Similarly, in this play, we see magic wand. He learned magic like that of Dr. Faustus in Christopher Marlowe's play. But Dr. Faustus becomes evil at the end, but Prospero uses magic for some good reasons. So betrayal is one more thing, a betrayal of faith, Caliban's betrayal, brothers' betrayal. But brothers are reconciled, the bad people are forgiven at the end. That's why all's well that ends well in this play. With this, I'm going to conclude today's talk, and thank you very much for patient listening. And we will be meeting you again with another video soon. Thank you.